Now,
drivers, start your engine!
You're shifting gears on ARN with Alan Bailey.
Well, there goes the neighborhood.
You name it, we got it. NASCAR.
Kyle Busch, the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion.
Yeah, you guys are awesome!
IndyCar.
Scott Dixon not only wins in Sonoma, but wins the 2015 championship.
We win on the tiebreaker.
Incredible performance.
Drag racing.
Pop the corks, and Ron Brown is the champion for the second time in his career.
Supercross.
Ryan Dungey becomes the 2015 Monster Energy AMA Supercross champion.
And so much more. So get ready. You're shifting gears on ARN with Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, where Superman has just gone to victory lane in the Auto Club 400 at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. I'm Alan Bailey, and you are shifting gears right here on ARN, the American Racing Network, your motorsports authority. I'm in the media center, guys. I'm having some fun. You know why? I found air conditioning. That's right. It's kind of a scorcher out here today. Highs in the high 70s actually out here today. Very hot. Kind of slick day out here at the Speedway. We saw an amazing Auto Club 400 out here at the Speedway. Phenomenal. This track is like wine. It just keeps getting better with age. And you honestly, every year you think, okay, well, the racetrack is going to start showing problems with the racing surface. It has to. It's 19 years old. Not the case. The racetrack was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. We did see some tire issues out there, and I know what you're going to say. Oh, Goodyear needs to get it together. Not the case at all. I'm telling you, gearheads, because the tire fall off was perfect. It made the cars slick. It made the drivers actually earn their paycheck, for lack of a better term, and they actually went out there and drove their race. Crazy concept, I know. And Jimmy Johnson came out on top after overdrive happened when Kyle Busch blew a tire and brought out the final caution with a couple of laps to go in regular in regulation. Then we went into overdrive. Everybody came down pit road. Johnson got the jump on the restart, beat out Harvick for the victory out here at the Auto Club Speedway. It's pretty awesome because he goes to victory lane in the Superman car. Keep in mind, his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. and him were driving Superman and Batman paint scheme vehicles out here. Jimmy had Superman on the car. Dale had Batman on the car. And it just was a very cool promotion with Hendrick Motorsports and with Warner Brothers all week long leading up to this race. And to see one of them in victory lane was just so darn cool. And with this win, it is important to know Jimmy Johnson not only passes Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the all-time win list, Dale Earnhardt Sr., but he does get his 77th victory in 512 Sprint Cup Series races, his 6th victory and 3rd top 10 finish, his 2nd victory and 3rd top 10 finish in 2016. I'm all messed up here. 6th victory here at the Auto Club Speedway. Kevin Harvick finished 2nd. It was his 11th top 10 finish in 23 races out here. His 5th top 10 finish of 2016. Now, Denny Hamlin came home 3rd. Chase Elliott, highest finishing rookie, coming home 6th. He was actually running down Harvick for the lead a little bit there. He moved into 2nd with a handful of laps to go. And you thought, wow, if something happens to Harvick, maybe the rookie Chase Elliott can actually make something happen here. And then he came down pit road, took 4 tires, and everything got a little jumbled up with everybody playing a little fuel and tire strategy right there at the end. Still came home 6th, pretty darn respectable. Kevin Harvick currently leading the point standings, 11 points over Jimmy Johnson. And I know what you're going to say. Who cares about the points? Who cares about the points? And honestly, up until this weekend, not me, but now I do. Looking at the point standings, or we'll get a look at the point standings later on, I should say. But here's your finishing order out here for the Auto Club 400. Jimmy Johnson getting the win in that Lowe's Superman Chevrolet. Kevin Harvick coming home 2nd, followed by Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano 4th. 5th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting a top 5 finish for Roush Fenway. Chase Elliott, your highest finishing rookie, in 6th. Career best for him, actually, in 6th. 7th was Carl Edwards. AJ Allmendinger coming home 8th in a solid top 10 run for them. Brad Keselowski, last year's winner, came home 9th this year. Jamie McMurray, Big Mac, coming home with a top 10 finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that Nationwide Batman Chevrolet coming home just outside the top 10 in 11th. Brian Scott coming home 12th. Brian Vickers in his best finish of the year in that number 14 Chevy, subbing for the injured Tony Stewart, coming home 13th. We had Ryan Newman 14th, Paul Menard 15th. 16th, we find Landon Castle, Casey Mears in 17th. 18th, we find Clint Boyer. In the 19th position, it was Matt Kenseth. Trevor Bain coming home 20th with Eric Almirola 21st. 22nd, David Reagan 23rd. Regan Smith. Austin Dillon, our pole sitter, coming home 24th. Kyle Busch, after pitting and causing that last caution with the flat tire, coming home 25th. Cole Witt coming home 26th. 27th, Matt DiBenedetto. 28th, we find Casey Mears after he had some tire issues today. Michael Annette coming home 29th. 30th, we find Kurt Busch. 31st, we find Michael McDowell. Martin Truex Jr., who did have a solid car, but just had some tire issues and other problems. Hit the wall, actually, coming home 32nd. 33rd, Chris Buescher. Jeffrey Earnhardt coming home 34th. 35th, Ryan Blaney. Josh Wise, 36th. 37th, Greg Biffle. Danica Patrick, after a hard hit on the turn 1 and 2 wall, coming home 38th. And Kyle Larson, shotgun, 39th on the field after he went head first into that backstretch wall about halfway through this race, and boy, was that a hard hit. We're going to talk about that, actually. A lot of people were asking, did he hit safer barrier? Is he okay? And there was a bit of anxiousness, let's just say, here in the media center. Yes, he did hit safer barrier. The Auto Club Speedway actually just a few months ago completed construction on putting in those safer barriers on the inside wall of the front and back stretch, and that's very important, because if they hadn't have done that, he would have hit concrete, and that would have been a significantly harder hit. So I seriously cannot say this enough. 800 feet of safer barrier went in here at the Auto Club 8,000 feet of safer barrier went in here at the Auto Club Speedway just a few months ago in preparation for this race and for future races. And I was walking the front stretch. Phenomenal job. They not only did that, but they actually on the front stretch paved about a lane off of that inner wall so that if drivers get down there, they can hit an actual patch of concrete and maybe, just maybe, actually get control and hopefully keep it off the wall. They also paved a good portion of the backstretch and into the turns a little bit and removed some grass. So hats off to the Auto Club Speedway for putting in those safety features, because it truly kept Kyle Larson from having a much harder hit than he did. Larson did say it was the hardest hit of his career, and it was a very jarring hit, let's just say. The highlight reel, if you want to watch that clip, which it's a very hard hit, it's a little gruesome, but he was okay, thankful to say. You can log on to arnrace.com if you have the stomach, let's just say. Now, lots of stuff coming up here on the program. Not only are we going to be talking about everything that happened out here at the Auto Club Speedway, but we have some great guests coming up on the program. Helio Castroneves will check into the program, talking about the race that's coming up out here in Southern California in a few weeks, down in Long Beach. Big weekend for them. Plus, talk about everything that happened in St. Petersburg last weekend and everything that's happening not next weekend, but the following weekend going into Phoenix. And, of course, the 100th Indianapolis 500 this year. 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, Helio Castroneves. We'll be talking about that. Plus, Brittany Force got her first win in Top Fuel, breaking through that win barrier. I told you it would happen sooner rather than later, and she did it out in Gainesville at the Gatornationals. Her teammate Robert Height also picked up the victory for John Force Racing in Funny Car, a 1-2 punch for John Force Racing, their first ever historic weekend for John Force Racing. And in case you're wondering, it was Greg Anderson in Pro Stock with the victory as well. And we're going to talk about this interesting situation developing in Supercross. Now, if you watched the broadcast on Fox Sports 1 last night, you notice that Ryan Dungey led most of that Supercross race out there in exactly. We're getting into our hot topics. We need to get it going here on ARN. And if you look at it, Ryan Dungey getting the win. However, he was penalized 2 positions because he actually went through some red flags for a down rider without slowing, and he did cause a little bit of a lead to develop because of that. So because of those two positions, the win goes to Jason Anderson in Detroit 450. Malcolm Stewart picks up the 250 win. Austin Dillon won a very wild finish at the Xfinity race here at the Auto Club Speedway yesterday in Southern California. Kyle Busch almost made it 4 in a row, but controversy. Not only did Kyle Busch not talk to the media, which has him in trouble with NASCAR, we'll talk about the possible penalties coming this week, but also Kyle Busch being criticized by some fans for potentially trying to wreck Dillon in order to get the victory. We'll talk about it. Plus, rumors about a fourth manufacturer coming to NASCAR. Brian France addressed the media on Friday about this, and he said that they have had conversations. NASCAR has had multiple conversations with multiple manufacturers about coming into NASCAR. We'll break down who might be coming and what might be a good fit for NASCAR. Plus, we're going to talk about safer barriers and why they're so important and why they need to be on every wall. But why isn't it happening? We'll break it down because there's a very legitimate reason for this. Out at the Gatornationals, like I said, Brittany Force picking up the win in Top Fuel. First-time winner out there. Her teammate, Robert Height, in Funny Car, picking up the victory. Jason Anderson in Pro Stock. Out here, Jimmy Johnson, Superman car, going to victory lane in the Auto Club 400. And yes, we're heading into an off week, but we're going to hear from your top finishers out here at the Auto Club Speedway. Not only will Jimmy Johnson join us, but so will Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt Jr., your highest finishing rookie in the race. Chase Elliott, who came home 6th, is also going to be checking into the program. Plus, Brittany Force on her first win. And yes, Helio Castroneves is going to be calling into the program in just a little bit. Big show coming at you live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, where Jimmy Johnson has just won the Auto Club 400 in Southern California. I'm Alan Bailey, live from the Auto Club Speedway in Southern California. That's your Hot Topics presented by nerdgasmpodcast.com. So yeah, we're going to talk about the Xfinity race because I'm going to be very frank. It looked boring to me. It really did. It was just simply Kyle Busch going out there doing what he always does, winning, dominating. And it was like, why, what's the point? What am I doing here? He led 133 laps of 150. What was the point of what's entertaining anymore about it? It's who's going to beat Kyle. Austin Dillon rose to the occasion, but it was because of a flat tire and Kyle potentially running out of fuel. It was a very classic Auto Club Speedway finish, very reminiscent as to how things were in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Only about 6-7 years now have we really seen some really phenomenal racing out here, which is awesome. Trust me, I've been coming to the Speedway since it opened 19 years ago, and we're seeing the best racing we've ever seen. But the racing we saw in the Xfinity race was something that we saw maybe 10, 15 years ago, where guys are saving fuel, and it's all about who can make it to the end. And it's a it's a kind of a chess match of who can last the longest. And that last lap was absolutely amazing, phenomenal. It's exactly what the classic Auto Club Speedway is all about when it comes to fuel mileage races out here. Austin Dillon came out on top. Kyle Busch coming home second in that race. Darrell Wallace Jr. coming home third. Daniel Suarez, after running out on the last lap, coming home fourth. And Elliott Sadler, your top 5. In the points in the Xfinity Series, Daniel Suarez currently leading Elliott Sadler by 10 points. Justin Allgaier, 19 markers back in third. Brandon Jones, 21 markers back in fourth. Ty Dillon is fifth, 23 markers back. 28 markers back in sixth is Brendan Gaughan. Eric Jones is seventh in the points right now in Xfinity, 30 markers back. Darrell Wallace Jr., 48 markers back in eighth. Ninth, Ryan Reed, 49 markers back. And Brendan Poole rounds out your top 10 in Xfinity Series point standings, 52 markers back. And that's in 5 starts. So we've reached the 5-start mark, and I've always said, don't pay attention to points in NASCAR until at least 5 races in. So now we can start talking about it, and now we can start acknowledging the points. We are going to talk about it, not only for Xfinity, but also for Sprint Cup Series, because I'll be completely and totally honest, that's something I haven't looked at yet. It's something that I seriously stayed away from the points because you got to focus on who's doing good. What's your driver doing on the racetrack, and where's their programs? It's something that the teams don't even look at. We were talking to a number of drivers on Friday's program about that. A lot of them had no idea where they were in the points or how far ahead they were or even who the points leader was. That's the mentality you have to have. You have to go out there and focus on wins and getting your car better. Only at this point do you casually look at those points and go, okay, we're top 5. Okay, we're top 10. Okay, got to work on a couple things. We'll work on a couple things and get going and see what happens here. Oh, so-and-so's leading the points? Oh, yeah, that figures. Okay, he might be the guy to beat this year. We'll keep an eye on him. That's what we're developing. This is the thought process behind doing that. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and step aside for the first time. When we get back, we will hear from our winner, Jimmie Johnson, plus your top finishers, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Chase Elliott, all going to be checking into the program today from the Media Center here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Brittany Force also going to be checking into the program. She got her first win out in Gainesville today at the Gatornationals in Top Fuel. We'll hear from her. Plus Helio Castroneves, IndyCar driver, and yes, 3-time Indianapolis 500 champion, will be checking into this program. He's going to be calling into the hotline, and he's going to have some interesting stories about everything that happened last weekend, let's just say, and everything that's happening in the next 2 weeks and in the next couple of months in a very historic year for IndyCar. Do yourself a favor. Don't go anywhere. We're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, and you're shifting gears right here on ARN.
Sick of bad race coverage or none at all from those other networks? Make ARN your one and only for all things motorsports. ARN, the Motorsports Authority.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hammond alongside NASCAR driver David Reagan.
When it comes to tire safety, nothing is more important than your tire's air pressure.
Just like a pit stop, checking your air pressure takes just a few moments.
And those few moments will not only keep you and your family safe on the road, it can also help save you money.
Properly inflated tires can improve gas mileage, which will save you money at the pump.
So be tire smart and make sure your tires are properly inflated.
Learn more at betiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
You're shifting gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Media Center at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Jimmie Johnson going to victory lane in the Auto Club 400 out here with the Superman paint scheme on the car, beating Kevin Harvick on a green-white checker to restart in overdrive out here in Southern California. 5 races in, Jimmie Johnson might maybe be one of the cars to beat. He's going to be stepping in here, and we're going to be talking to him in just a little bit. But someone I do want to hear from, he had a really good car, actually, all weekend long. He qualified in the top 10, which is something he's been doing for the better part of this very young season. He's a rookie, but you know what? He's not driving like one. He's not only running in the top 5 and in the top 10, but he's finishing there more or less. Yes, he does have 2 DNFs to his name in 5 races in 2016, but you take those away, he might just be a chase contender. Keep that in mind. It's young Chase Elliott, who did actually run in the top 5 and was seriously knocking down some very competitive lap times very fast. He was the fastest car on the track in most of the closing laps here. In the last 30 laps, he was, I think all but 5 of those laps, he was the fastest car as he was making up time and passing cars. He went from just inside the top 10 to second in about 25 laps or so. And it looked like he had a chance to maybe run down Harvick a little bit if something happened to Harvick, but then the caution came out for Kyle Busch, and that was purely a game changer. But nevertheless, Chase Elliott did come home with a 6th-place finish, had a chance to talk to him after the race. This is what he said about his race today. Chase Elliott, heck of a run out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. How was the car right there on that final restart?
It was really good. I feel like we made a lot of gains there about 3/4 of the way through, and we're able to, I feel like, get our car really close and was able to work through some traffic and help. Just didn't do a good enough optimizing that last restart to give ourselves a shot. But we'll take what we had today. I think it's something to be proud of. It wasn't a win, so we're not happy, but we'll take what we had and try to get better at Martinsville.
in the final laps right there, you were not only running down the leaders, but you were the fastest car on the racetrack with multiple time champions out there. That's got to be a confidence booster for you.
Well, we want to do better, and we want to be able to compete with those guys. And I know I have a team that's capable of doing it. They brought an exceptional race car this weekend, and we just gotta keep working at it and keep digging. We're not satisfied, so we'll keep working at it and see what happens.
My friend, you were not only out there competing, but you were running them down. You did a great job out there. Congrats on the good run.
Thanks.
I've said it on this program before, and I'm going to keep saying it. I think Chase is being super hard on himself, which is actually saying a lot, because when you're a rookie in Sprint Cup Series and you have a 6th place finish and you're running in the top 5 for the closing laps right there, that's very respectable. That's very damn respectable. And the fact is Chase is just being super hard on himself. He's acting like he's a former champ that really should be winning every week. And yes, that's the mentality a driver should have, but I think he needs to take it easy on himself. His crew has given him winning cars, or at least top 5 and top 10 cars every single week. And the 2 DNFs he had this year, one was for a wreck at Daytona, which literally Jimmy Johnson, that's happened to Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and other big-name drivers in the sport. Like there's no tomorrow that's happened to them. It's very easy to get into a wreck in Daytona and Talladega. The other one was he got caught up in a wreck at Vegas that was totally not his fault, just a case of wrong place, wrong time. Totally unavoidable for him and not of his doing. I think he seriously needs to check himself and realize that, hey, I'm not doing as bad as I think, because he is being a little harsh on himself. Now, got a chance to catch up with Joey Logano after the race. He did finish 4th. He was running in the top 5 there, but it seemed like he didn't have a car that was capable of getting out front and leading a lot of laps. And yeah, he did lead a couple of laps, but it really wasn't a ton of laps. He didn't have a dominating car, or at least one of the top 3 cars. So a 4th place finish is actually very respectable for Joey Logano. This is what he said after the race about racing out there at the Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, it was a crazy race at the end for sure. First off, I apologize to Martin. I was going to go in right behind him and, try to get to the outside of him. And, he was going to run the top as well. So I was going to try to run the wall and try to get by him that way. And I just got him loose as I went in the corner being so close. And it's just the nature of the beast when you get close to another car with these, when you're going so fast. So unfortunately, we got tangled up there a little bit. I hate that happen in general. But, our Auto Club Fusion was, 4th place car. And that's where we finished. It's just, I wish I could do that last restart one more time. I spun the tires there at the last restart, and I just spun a little bit more than what I've been all day. So, I look back at that and I learned from the mistakes.
How crazy was that restart?
I mean, it was as crazy as you would expect, right? It's the last green-white checker at the Fontana. It's about everything you would expect.
Thank you.
Talk about the tire fall off and what you guys. This is what you guys asked for.
The tire fall off's fun. I tell you, you're slipping and sliding, and the strategy didn't really come into play on people, short pitting as much or anything like that, because the caution kept falling when cycles were starting. So kind of a crazy day as far as when cautions fell. But besides that, I thought it was a lot of fun. Tires would fall off. There was comers and goers. We were a car that was pretty good on the short run, and then it would be good through lap 15, and then it would start falling off. So we didn't have enough long run speed in our car.
Now you got an off week coming up. What about that? Any plans, and does that help a team regroup?
Yeah, it's nice to have after this West Coast swing is tough on the guys. It's really tough. So it's nice to have a little break for everybody, get home and reset for the next one.
5 races in, Joey. How do you rate what your 2016 season's looking like so far?
A couple top 5s. It's I guess not exactly where we want to be yet. We want to be up there racing for wins, and this is today is the closest we've been since Vegas. Phoenix wasn't one of our best races. We weren't bad, but it just wasn't our best race. And I felt like we were a contender today, just not quite the best car, good enough to stay up towards the front. So just needed a little bit more work on our cars.
And yeah, he did. That was Joey Logano right here after finishing 4th here at the Auto Club Speedway in the Auto Club 400. And 5 races in, Team Penske, they're not having a stellar year. They're having a decent one, but it seems like they are missing something that they had a few years ago. And maybe it's just the Gibbs guys that are catching up to them. Maybe it's the Hendrick guys catching up to them. I think that there's a little bit something missing. We noticed it in Xfinity Series. They started trying new things and that didn't work, so they went back to old stuff. I wonder if it's the same thing happening in Cup for them, and they're trying new things that necessarily aren't working. This is Sprint Cup Series racing. You have to try new things. You have to experiment, and you have to keep ahead of the 8-ball, and that's something that every team is doing. And sometimes things don't work, and you have to go back to square one. I think it's time for Team Penske to go back to square one and go back to what works and what has been working for that organization in the last few years. Another driver that we did get a chance to catch up to, our reigning Daytona 500 champ, Denny Hamlin. He did come home with a third-place finish. Pretty respectful. He did lead some laps, but not a lot. I think he led 2 or 3 laps, not a whole lot of laps led. But you know what? He was up near the front, and he was right there near the end. He did what he had to do, and he got himself a pretty respectable finish. But here's Denny Hamlin on the race out here at the Auto Club 400.
This package is obviously something that we can build on, and can't wait till we take another chunk of downforce out of these things, and really you're going to see some great racing. So love what we see so far, and hopefully we're going to build on it.
I just got here. Talk about the tire fall off and what you saw. Obviously, a good run for you guys.
The tire fall off was major. Our car wasn't very good on restarts, but it was good in the long run, and that's something that used to not happen. Usually, if you're just slow, you're slow. And this time with this package, this tire, at least there's a discrepancy of beginning of the run speed to the end.
You started third, you finished third. It was a good run for you guys, but how was the car really throughout the whole race out there on this tricky racetrack?
My car was pretty good. We were battling back and forth with it, but overall, pretty pleased with the performance. Just wish I was a little better on restarts.
Yeah, and you could tell that was kind of the downfall for some guys out here in the Auto Club 400. They just didn't have... I don't want to say what it took to get around Jimmy Johnson, but they were missing a little something, and not 100% sure what it was for Hamlin right there. But you know what? It's still a very respectful finish. They're locked into the chase. At this point, it's experimenting, trying things, and just rattling off top 10s if you can, because you do want to stay high in the points, especially early on. Work on getting those points and really just stay consistent and build on everything. And that's what Hamlin's doing now. By the time the chase starts, they're setting up for a really good chase run. I like what I'm seeing out of those guys. Now, somebody else who I don't want to say did a lot of trash talking online and couldn't back it up on the racetrack, but he did a lot of trash talking online, and considering the last time he had the Dark Knight on his car, he went to victory lane, you would have expected a little bit more of a showing. But you know what? Dale Earnhardt Jr. just unfortunately was missing something from that car all day. And what it was, I can't really say because I don't know. It seems like that car just unloaded and it wasn't that great. It wasn't that fast. And it was just missing something all weekend long. And you know what? The highest I had seen him all weekend long was right there at the end when he finished 11th. And I guess that's when you want to be your best, but just came up a little shy of a top 10 finish right there for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He talked about a little bit of the trash talking that he did on social media with his teammate Jimmy Johnson, who, by the way, did go to victory lane in case you missed that headline. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking about his Auto Club 400 weekend.
I guess
that
Superman.
Ain't no fun right now. He's in victory lane. But it was a great promotion for Hendrick Motorsports, the best one they've had in 8 years, and I think that the Warner Brothers folks got a lot out of it, especially with Jimmy going to victory lane. He's tough here, and they got a great break at the end of the race to help them get a great pit stop and make that happen. So I'm happy for my teammate. Wish we would have run a little bit better today. I thought we would have at least run in the top 5, but it was a bad day, and finishing 11th, we'll take it.
I know we sort of went through this when Jimmy tied your dad, but now he passed your dad.
Yeah.
It wins. Any further reaction?
Yeah, that's something inevitable, I guess. I remember when Jeff passed Daddy, and now he got all the way up to 93 wins. Jimmy's going to have quite a few more. He may pass Jeff. That'll be a great story as well, since Jeff sort of brought him onto the team. Jimmy's wouldn't be surprised if he matches him, Daddy and Richard in that championship deal if we can't get it.
He was a real class act over the way he was so subtle about it when he tied it. He almost didn't want to say anything.
Well, I told him he better do something. Don't just do nothing.
well, I would be insulted. But he is a class act, great guy. You're going to break a lot of guys' records in this sport. If you're Jimmy Johnson winning races like he is, you're going to break a lot of records. So I appreciate the nod to Dad, and I appreciate any time anybody acknowledges Dad.
Does this off week help you guys regroup or anything?
I'll surely take advantage of it and go relax with Amy. But I think we got things headed in the right direction. Jimmy obviously had a great setup and ran really well. They changed a lot of things overnight, so we can look at that and learn. I think we had an amazing car last week, best car I've had at Phoenix in a long time. Even though we run good there, I really haven't liked my car at that racetrack. So I think, we can look at how we got in some damage and things like that hurt us today. We still finished 11th. Should have finished in the top 10. But I think we're doing all right. I'm pretty happy with our speed. It's a long year. Other teams and organizations are going to start to bridge the gap and close it up a little bit and find what works. And you saw today a couple of them guys running really good. The 78 and the 4, those guys that you expect to see up front are going to be there.
It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. right here after his Auto Club 400 11th place finish out here in Southern California. This is Shifting Gears right here on ARN. We're live from the Auto Club Speedway's Media Center after Jimmy Johnson takes home the victory in the Auto Club 400 out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. We saw an amazing race out here. Amazing race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't have the best weekend out here. He really didn't. They were missing something, and it seems like that 88 Chevy is just missing a little bit of something in 2016. Jimmy Johnson has something working for him. They're getting their cars out of the same shop. I can guarantee you they're trading notes, and they're looking over everything at that 88 shop, trying to get that car better, but it's just missing a little bit of something. It is an 11th through a 15th place car right now, and that's kind of where they're running. But Dale seems happy. He seems optimistic on the year. And frankly, if your driver's happy, everything on the racetrack is going to come up for you eventually. Just give it time, Junior Nation. Everything will get a little bit better. Mark my words. Now, want to hear from Superman himself, Jimmy Johnson, who ended up getting the victory out here in the Auto Club 400. Had a chance to catch up with him in victory lane after his amazing win out here, second win of the 2016 season. And yes, that win does in fact not only was it his 77th victory, but he does surpass Dale Earnhardt Sr. on the all-time wins list. He's passed him at this point. He tied him earlier this season. Now he's gone past him. So that's rattled Junior Nation a little bit, and it did come up. Here's Jimmy Johnson, Superman, after getting the victory out here in the Auto Club 400.
Jimmy Johnson starting midfield here at the Auto Club Speedway. Worked your way up through the field, led some laps, and then a late race caution gave you the win. How was it out there?
It was fun. This rules package on this old, worn-out racetrack is a lot of fun to drive. 2 pit stops from the end, we were kind of in a bad position. We pitted early, and then the caution came out, so I was out there in the lead on older tires than everyone else, and slipped back and was kind of bummed about that. But then caution came out again and put us into overtime. Amazing stop on pit road, put us third, and then some real hard competitive racing with the 4 and the 22, and we came out on top and got the lead. So just a fun day of racing.
Jimmy, being a SoCal native, how special is it for you whenever you win at this racetrack?
It's so special. I could hear the fans when I came back around to do my burnouts. I still came back around when I went through the second time. I was even doing interviews and gave them a shout out, and they went nuts up in the stands. So it's great to be back home. It's wild as NASCAR wasn't all that popular when I was growing up out here. And then to have so much success in it and to watch the West Coast really love the sport and grow into massive race fans is fun to see and be a part of.
Are you seeing a growth of the sport, not just in NASCAR, but really all racing here in Southern California?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a huge racing presence, but it's kind of been dirt related. And there's some stock car stuff and some short track stuff, but I guess maybe in my era, IndyCar and off-road and moto was really it. And NASCAR has certainly gone mainstream. Now I think there are more drivers from the state of California than any other state that compete in NASCAR, which is mind-blowing in its own. So things have changed for sure, and there's a lot of talent in the state.
Jimmy, how was it taking the Superman car to victory lane out here in Southern California for you?
Did a lot of trash talking along the way, and I'm glad I backed it up. So it's good when you can back it up. It's fun.
You look at everything that happened out here today. We saw some tire issues, but overall we saw an amazing race out here. 5 races in, how do you rate your guys going into 2016?
48's doing great. We're real happy with where we're at. I think Hendrick Motorsports as a whole, we've improved from where we were last year. The racing I thought was extremely competitive and fun. I think this rules package has really created created some passing opportunities and lets us slide the car and fight with the car a little bit, which I think puts on a better show.
We're going into an off weekend here. You got some big plans, or is it just regroup, rest a little bit before we start another wing here of the 2016 season?
No, we only have 3 off weeks all year long, so we make sure we plan and have a great family trip. We're heading to the beach with my family, and I can't wait to get back to the East Coast and scoop them up and head south and get on the beach with some sand and a cold beverage.
Superman in Victory Lane. Congrats, Jimmy.
Thank you.
That's Jimmy Johnson right there. He's the winner of the 2016 Auto Club 400 out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. We're live in the Benia Center out here at the Auto Club Speedway. I'm Alan Bailey, and you're shifting gears right here on ARN. I got to agree with him, man, because you only have, I think it's like 3 off weekends now, and it's tough. It's a very demanding schedule, and we just did 5 straight races, 6 races with the Sprint Unlimited at Daytona as a pre-race warm-up, if you will, before the 500. So we've been essentially going for 7-8 weeks here straight on the road. We need a break already. We need to just rest a little bit because we've done the last 3 weeks out here with on the West Coast with the Phoenix International Raceway, Las Vegas, and then wrapping everything, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and then out here at the Auto Club Speedway. So the NASCAR Goes West tour officially comes to an end out here in Southern California, and it did not disappoint, my friends. And it's time to get a little bit of R&R. I'm taking next weekend off, and I'm certain, or next week off, I should say, and I'm very much looking forward to a little R&R going into the Easter weekend. And I looking at the points right now, Kevin Harvick is leading Jimmy Johnson by 11 markers right now. Carl Edwards third, 24 back. 25 markers back is Denny Hamlin in fourth. Kyle Busch 25 markers back as well in fifth. Joey Logano sixth, 30 points out of the lead. You have Kurt Busch seventh, 47 markers out of the lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 50 points out in eighth. Ninth, we find Brad Keselowski 53 points out. Austin Dillon rounding out your top 10. He is only 56 markers back. Martin Truex Jr. 68 markers back. 70 points back. In 12th is Jamie McMurray. 13th, Eric Almirola, who is 75 markers back. 14th, we have Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is 76 markers out. Matt Kenseth is 15th, 82 markers out. And Chase Elliott, 16th in the point standings right now, 85 markers out, but also tied for that position. Ryan Blaney, 17th, another rookie, tied for that as well. The tiebreaker would go to Chase Elliott, though, based off of his top 10 finishes and the pole awards. So keep that in mind. 5 races in. The drivers that are locked in: Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski as winners in the 2016 season so far. So 12 spots are open for this chase, and I hate mentioning it this quick in the season, but it is time to start thinking about that. So where is your driver? Is this time to start worrying? There's 12 positions that are open. You get a win, you're in, essentially. But if your driver's in the top 16 in points, you're in if it starts right now anyway. You have to keep that up. And that's something you think about going into this off weekend. And I have a mini bone to pick with a buddy of mine. Trent Sloan from AM 830 right there. He said he wanted to hang out and grab that interview for his stuff that he was using, member of the media out here. And somehow he shanghaied my interview, mid-interview. Trent, what the hell, man? Come on. Happy to do it, though, but seriously. But still, seriously. Jacking my interview? What the hell, Trent? Come on, man. I'm going to get him back for that, and he's not going to like it. I'm just saying, he's been warned. He has been warned. Ooh, Trent, you're going down, bud. Anyway, looking at the finish out here, Jimmy Johnson with a very impressive win. Kevin Harvick coming home second. Denny Hamlin third. Joey Logano fourth. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out your top 5 out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. What we'll go ahead and do now is we will step aside. When we get back, though, going to hear from Helio Castroneves. He's going to be calling into the program, talking about everything that's coming up at the Long Beach Grand Prix IndyCar race here next month, but also everything that happened last weekend out in St. Petersburg. everything that is going to happen in a couple of weeks out in Phoenix, the first time the IndyCar has gone back there in a handful of years, I should say, and everything that's coming up in the month of May. Pretty big year for IndyCar. I don't know if you know, gearheads, but it's the 100th Indianapolis 500 this year. Kind of a big deal, and we're very gracious that Helio Castroneves is calling into the program because he is a 3-time Indy 500 champ, and that's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know. So hopefully Trent Shalom doesn't Shanghai that interview, and hopefully we get some good stuff out of Helio. So do yourself a favor. Don't go anywhere. We're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, and you're shifting gears right here on ARN.
Take ARN anywhere. Download your favorite ARN programs on iTunes. Keyword search ARN and listen online at arnrace.com.
It's the Nerdgasm Podcast.
I want to point this out, though. I think Kylo's getting you're getting a bad rep, Kylo, because he stopped the laser blast midair. He can suck thoughts out of your mind. Yep. He doesn't fear anybody. Yep. Takes a laser blast from Chewie's weapon. Yep. Not afraid to show his face. Approaches his enemies often. Fights while bleeding out in the freezing cold.
Oh, yeah.
And he's labeled a crybaby.
All right.
How is he labeled a crybaby?
The internet has labeled him a crybaby.
You know what? My God.
I'm not the internet. I don't know.
Kylo took a lightsaber to the face.
He did.
And he just gave the death stare. He wasn't crying.
That was blood dripping down his face.
Those weren't tears. That was blood, dude.
Exactly. And if you want to claim that it were tears, then it was clearly the snow all over his face.
Now we can set the record straight.
All right.
So, Kylo, no cry baby.
Download new episodes of the Nerdgasm Podcast every Friday on nerdgasmpodcast.com, on iTunes, and now available on Stitcher.
Thousands of our fighting men and women in the Middle East have been badly wounded. Many are missing limbs, and when they get home, they have very special needs for the rest of their life.
During their recovery and rehabilitation, whatever it takes to improve their quality of life, whatever it takes, Operation Second Chance gets it done.
Now go to OperationSecondChance.org and watch that video. These brave young Americans have paid the ultimate price to keep us safe, and it's amazing what just $1 or $2 will do on their behalf.
Go to OperationSecondChance.org and watch that video. Believe me, you're going to want to help. Thanks.
You're shifting gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Jimmy Johnson is your Auto Club 400 winner in the Superman car. And in case you're wondering, Batman didn't even finish in the top 10. Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming home 11th. Respectful. However, Jimmy Johnson doing the trash talking and Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing the trash talking, Jimmy kind of won it. He kind of backed it up. What can I say? I don't know. He did check into the program earlier. If you missed that interview, log on to arnrace.com. You can listen to it and download it anytime, as well as any other ARN programming, including this program on iTunes and on Stitcher. Keep that in mind. Now, I said that this was going to happen. As we shift gears from NASCAR, talk about everything else that happened in the racing world this weekend. I said it was going to happen. It was just a question of when it was going to happen this season. Brittany Force picking up her first win today out in the Gatornationals in Gainesville, and her teammate Robert Hight picking up the win in Funny Car as well. So it's a 1-2 punch for John Force Racing out there at the Gatornationals. Great weekend for them. Greg Anderson winning in Top Fuel. She got out of the car, and you could tell, not only is she super stoked to get that first win checked off her list, but she's just so thrilled to get it done this quick in the season.
Oh my gosh, this is such an incredible feeling. I cannot believe I'm standing here holding this, not just for myself, but for the entire Monster Energy team. It's a very proud moment. I have to begin by thanking my sponsors, Monster Energy. Thank you for coming on board. And all my sponsors, Auto Club Traxxas, Chevy Peak, Lucas Oil, Mac Tools. Thank you for standing by. JFR. I have to thank my team. I'm so proud of every single one of my guys. They have worked so hard to get here, and I'm very lucky to call each and every single one of them a teammate, especially my crew chief, Brian Houston, who's been so patient with me, and Alan Johnson and him. They got us here today, so thank you.
You think maybe Alan Johnson had a little teeny tiny bit to do with her winning car out in Gainesville? He did come on board at John Force Racing to work on that Top Fuel car for Brittany Force this year. And I mean, just a couple races in, that's That's some quick validation right there. She did make the final round a couple weeks ago, and she's just continuing that streak. And if she continues this off into the postseason, it's going to be some really spectacular stuff out there for John Force Racing in the Top Fuel Series. And Robert Hype picking up the win in Funny Car. Amazing racing out there. You can log on to arnrace.com in order to check out the highlights and the finishing order, the full finishing order of the racing out there at the Gatornationals. Now, want to talk some Supercross here because it is something that's been on my mind, and it's an interesting situation. Ryan Dungey technically picked up the victory on Saturday, yesterday, out in Detroit at Ford Field. However, in Supercross, AMA officials have spotters and officials throughout the course. Whenever a rider goes down, a red flag is displayed. It is the responsibility of every rider to look out for these flags, and it is their responsibility to decrease their speed and roll through whatever obstacles are there. So if it's loops, they have to, or if it's jumps, they have to kind of roll through and not leave the ground. That's something that every rider has to do. Apparently, according to AMA officials, Dungey didn't do that. He did not do that. At some point during the race, we're told it's around lap 4, and we've gone back and we're trying to find a replay of this particular incident, but right around lap 4, lap 7, Dungey approached red cross flags for a downed rider, requiring riders to roll through each jump until clear of the incident. The championship leader failed to adhere to the flags. As a result, was penalized 2 positions by race official at the conclusion of the race. Racing continued as a mistake by Muskin on lap 17, who put Frenchman on the ground briefly, forcing him to lose second to Anderson. Now, Dungey went on to take the checkered flag, but Anderson is awarded the victory because he finishes second, earning the first victory of his career in the season opener in Anaheim in January. This is now his second victory. Muskin was awarded second, and his 4th podium finish went to Dungey, dropping to 3rd. Very interesting situation here. This is literally word for word what the rule book says. We checked it. Don't worry. This is how it should be. And I know what you're saying, and I've seen the tweets come in already, and I'm kind of rolling my eyes at them. This one coming from John Wesnick. Yes, you need to tighten up the points. Way to go, AMA. I'm sure they didn't put this a while KMA in the first Aussie would be making a bigger deal. No. I do not want to start these. It's a conspiracy. AMA is trying to control a finish. They're trying to make it entertaining. They don't want him to run away with it. Guys, no. That's incredibly, no. That is so wrong. It's not even funny. I can see where your mentality is, but you're wrong. This one coming from Matt Wassman on Facebook. If Ryan truly did jump the red cross flags, then he should be penalized. However, with all the talk about the chase format, I'm a bit skeptical. Is it outdoor time yet? A, no, it's not. And B, I don't know. I don't like the idea of a chase or playoff type format in Supercross. I think it's already tight racing. And frankly, by the time at this point in the season, frankly, there's so much other stuff going on. I don't think AMA needs it. I really don't. I think the finishing is the racing in itself is thrilling enough. It's at a time where, frankly, other racing doesn't get impacted by it. So if you're a NASCAR fan and you're watching the race on Sunday and Saturday afternoon, you can turn on your TV in the late evening or late afternoon, depending on where you live in this country, and you can watch a Supercross race from somewhere in this country on Fox Sports 1, and it's very competitive racing, and it's a great way to spend your Saturday night at home resting. I don't understand the mentality of this. I can't watch this race because it's the same time of this race. No, we don't have that issue with Supercross. I really don't get it. Why this thought process brings up the worst of people. They think that this is a conspiracy theory and that AMA is trying to, tighten the field. Why? You look at what Dungey's done for the sport. He's done a lot of good things for the sport. If anything, AMA wants a repeat winner. You know why? Ryan Dungey's the first Supercross rider to get on a Wheaties box. You know how many kids are eating Wheaties right now, looking at Ryan Dungey's face going, oh, wait, you can race motorcycles for a living? That's what we need. We need to reach more fans. That's the goal of racing. It's not going to the racetrack every weekend. It's bringing your friends to the racetrack every weekend, getting more people interested in NASCAR, Supercross, drag racing, in IndyCar racing. That is what keeps these sports not only viable, but also keeps them thriving. In this world, you're either going down or you're going up, and there's no middle ground. There's not. You can tell me there is, there's not. You're either getting more popular or you're not that popular anymore. And Supercross is in kind of a crosshairs right now because it is getting more popular, but we're at a turning point where it's either going to keep getting popular or people are going to stop watching. This is right around the time when we see a ratings drop because there are more fans watching NASCAR, watching IndyCar, watching drag racing on FS1 than there are people watching Supercross. And this kind of drama, this kind of issues is not what we need. It's very awkward because if you look at the photos online, especially on multiple media sites, they're all reporting, oh, Ryan Dungey won the race, and on the podium, Dungey's holding up the big trophy and the big check. But give it a few hours. That's not exactly how it went down, like at all. Little awkward, very awkward, actually. Let's just put it that way. Now, I told you this was going to happen, and he is finally here. He is our 3-time IndyCar 500 champ, and I told you it was coming. He drives for Team Penske in a very historic year for that team, but it's a very historic year for IndyCar in general. He is Helio Castroneves joining us here on the hotline. Helio, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. So we came off a very interesting race out in St. Petersburg. How was it for you?
Well, it was very good. I have to say that we didn't dial in the setup. I didn't have the horse to win. Very different than my teammate. Juan Pablo ended up taking the victory, which was great for Team Penske. So, but we were able to finish the top fourth, which was great. We're unfortunately 3 laps to go. We're passed by Ryan Hunter-Ray, and we lost the opportunity to be 1-2-3 finish. But in the end of the day, good points for the championship. And now we're getting ready for Phoenix, and which is April 2nd, and then Long Beach, which is going to be April 17th. So we're looking forward to it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And you brought up Phoenix. That's going to be a very interesting race. Haven't raced there for a little while. What did you think? What do you think about going back to Phoenix?
Well, it's a great place. I do believe our cars are very suitable for short ovals. It's going to be fast because they did modify the track a little bit compared to what's used in the past. And after almost 10 years, I guess, around 10 years, we are coming back. So it's great to be in a place that people really enjoyed having us there, and it's part of the, heritage of IndyCar series, having a race in Phoenix.
Yeah, no kidding. And 1 week ago, we saw a very close finish for the NASCAR guys out there. You think IndyCar is going to produce a great side-by-side finish out there in Phoenix?
Well, it will be interesting. I do feel that we're going to go much faster. We go about, I would say about at least 7 seconds faster than those guys in the track. So it shows that we're really on it. And it'll be interesting to see. It's a night race, and everything changes when it's a night race.
No, absolutely. To see the IndyCars under the lights, it's going to be phenomenal out there. And speaking of phenomenal, you guys come out here in about a month or so to Long Beach for another great race. Do you look forward to coming out to Southern California?
Well, every time I come over here, it's always good, especially at Long Beach race. If you got to win Indy 500, that's the number one. But the second one is Long Beach, and we're excited to come back. It's at Long Beach. It's over 40 years that we've been going there, so it shows that the place, it's in talking about tradition. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And what do you think the hardest, or I should say, the greatest challenge will be for Long Beach in 2016?
Say that again.
What do you think is going to be the most challenging thing about Long Beach this year?
Well, we do have the new aero kit, aero package. Compared to last year, it might change a little bit. We might going to go faster. Parson Tires they did change to a more grip, so it might going to be faster than last year, which was a track record. I ended up actually getting the pole position now that we're talking about. So it'll be interesting to see. We might going to end up having another track record this year.
It could very well happen this year in 2016. And I mean, you got it last year. And what would it mean to in 2016, not only to win, but also to win for Roger Penske in a very historic year for Team Penske?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Long Beach is a very traditional place. Winning here is just would be the third race of the season. So which means you started great preparation for Indy 500, and the 100th running this year. So it'll be really good to keep the momentum going.
Oh yeah, and obviously it's a big season for IndyCar. Not only do we have so many great races coming up with Phoenix and with Long Beach, but the month of May is going to be so special in so many ways, as you know, as a 3-time winner of the Indy 500. Is that something that it's kind of a pinch me moment for you as a driver, knowing that you're going to race in the 100th Indy 500?
Yeah, it's exciting just to think about it. But in our case, you got to focus on how to get there. You can't think about the number. It's a big number, but the main thing is get opportunity. Put yourself in an opportunity to make it happen.
Yeah, and you look at it, you're a 3-time winner. I mean, growing up as a kid, did you ever think you would have a chance to race in Indy, let alone win it 3 times?
Well, I remember I thought growing up, yes, but and then they have to split in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we're never going to go back. But after we're one of the first ones to come back in 2001, and that was really cool to see it. So, yep, I always put myself in trying to look for those goals, and those are, you got to dream high that one day it's going to happen. So it did happen.
Absolutely. And I mean, you look at IndyCar right now, a lot of people were talking about Will Power and the fact that he did have a pretty hard hit this last weekend out in St. Petersburg. And I mean, obviously as a driver, that's something you can't think about, but a lot of people were, criticizing the safety of these cars, but really it's an open cockpit and it's IndyCar. They're never 100% safe. But as a driver, do you feel safe now in 2016 or safer than you did when you first started?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what. I feel safer on IndyCar than actually going the streets in anywhere. And they do every test. Manufacturers, they do every test to make sure that they protect as much as they can the drivers. In our case, we're racing. There is a risk involved. And unfortunately, we all know, but there is a risk involved. You can protect as much as you can. In the particular, what happened with Will, it wasn't any concussion. I mean, he was fine. It was just a ear infection that probably disturbed a little bit of the crystal in his ear. So and that's why he was feeling sick and dizzy, but nothing to do with concussion. But we do take safety very, very serious. In fact, the things that happened last year with the accident of Justin Wilson, we have feathers in all of the car, make sure that the parts doesn't fly away like it did last year. But remember, we cannot just try to just experience something, put it there without testing. So we're doing enough testing to make sure when we design something which is ready to go, it's proper test and we know it's going to work.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at IndyCar, I think that they put an amazing effort forward. And I mean, we can see that with not only the racing product, but also the safety advances in IndyCar. It's absolutely phenomenal. Coming back out here to Southern California in about a month, obviously the culture down here is unlike any other. When you're down here in Southern California, what is something that you have to do away from the racetrack that you like to do for fun?
Well, the friends, remember, I did win the Dancing with the Stars, so some of the friends ended up coming over, watch the race, and reconnect with them. And I enjoyed the area. The area is really cool. It's really nice. The weather's perfect. And people seem to be knowledgeable about our cars. So it's always good to be in a place that everybody have a good time.
Do you ever get a chance to hang out with your friends from Dancing with the Stars when you're not in Southern California?
Yeah, sometimes we can do some stuff together. It depends. I think they're also, when we come over here, they start doing the new season. So It's always good to see them around.
Absolutely. That is Helio Castroneves. He's a Team Penske driver in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Helio, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
you could just tell he's trying not to think of the 100th number for the Indianapolis 500, but it's something that's on your mind as a driver. It can't not be on your mind. And I mean, he's just a great guy. And yeah, he loves his Dancing with the Stars friends, and they're such an interesting cast of characters, no pun intended. And it's a great time whenever IndyCar comes out to Long Beach. And if you're interested in tickets, you can head on to ARNrace.com and you can find your ticket information for the Long Beach Grand Prix happening next month in Southern California. Absolutely phenomenal weekend coming up. We only have about a couple minutes left here, and I seriously want to take a chance to thank the Auto Club Speedway for their amazing hospitality out here this weekend. They do a phenomenal job, not only putting on a great show on the racetrack, but taking care of their fans and us media members. And from everybody here at ARN, we sincerely thank them. David Talley and his staff out here at the Speedway do an amazing job. They seriously do. Dave Allen, track president, extremely accommodating. I love every single buddy over here at the Auto Club Speedway. They do a great job. And with that in mind, I do want to bring this up. Austin Dillon not happy with Kyle Busch for trying to wreck him in the last turn, and you're going to tell me, oh, Kyle had a flat tire, he just ran up the racetrack. No, that was Kyle trying to wreck him. I mean, hey, I'm going for a win. I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to do everything I can in order to try to keep my opponent from getting into victory lane, and that's exactly what happened there. Don't kid yourself otherwise. Come on, get real. That's so not what happened. Oh man, it was some great racing though. Gonna see a penalty for Kyle Busch not doing his interviews though post race on Saturday though. That's gonna come, and it's gonna be interesting to say the least. It'll affect him in the in the Xfinity side, not so much on the Cup side, but it'll definitely hit him in the wallet, if you know what I mean, and expect probation. So from everybody here at the American Racing Network and Shifting Gears, we're live at the Auto Club Speedway. Thank you to everybody at the Auto Club Speedway for an amazing weekend. I'm going to enjoy a week off here. I'm going to really enjoy it. Log on to AarronRace.com for all your information and breaking news. Have a happy Easter. We'll see you at the track.
You've been listening to the American Racing Network, a turn for media company. This is ARN, the Motorsports Authority.